What's up, clever masterminds? Cleverboy86 here, and today I'm going to be reviewing The Walking Dead Season 7, Episode 7, titled Sing Me a Song. Now, this episode mainly focuses on Carl at the sanctuary. We also get to see some stuff with Rick and Aaron, who are searching for supplies for Negan's next visit to Alexandria, but that was kind of a side storyline. Like, they didn't really focus too much on that in this episode. But anyway, so basically at the end of episode 5, Jesus and Carl were hiding in the back of one of the Savior's trucks, and Carl is going to the sanctuary to try and take out Negan, and he basically tricks Jesus into jumping out of the truck, and he tells Jesus that he's going to go with him, but he basically tricks Jesus into going first, and the truck arrives at the sanctuary, and Carl kills 2 of the Saviors with a machine gun, and basically Negan takes Carl inside the sanctuary, and Negan is one of the only people who treat Carl like an adult, and they have a very interesting dynamic, and I really enjoyed seeing Chandler Riggs and Jeffrey Dean Morgan on screen together, and they just had some great dialogue in this episode, because Carl resents Negan for killing Glenn and Abraham, and he wants to kill Negan, but Negan respects Carl, and it's a very interesting dynamic. And it was really explored in this episode, and I just thought it was really, really interesting. But anyway, so Negan takes Carl inside the sanctuary, and he introduces him to his wives. And basically, Carl sees that the Saviors basically worship Negan, like they literally bowed down to Negan in this episode. And it's sort of a closer look into the sanctuary, which was pretty cool. But anyway, so basically Negan takes Carl into this room, and Negan forces Carl to take off the bandage that's covering his eye, and Carl takes it off, and he shows it to Negan, and this is something that Carl is very ashamed of, and something that he wants to keep hidden, but Negan basically forces Carl to show him his eye socket, and it was kind of a messed up scene, but yeah, anyways, then Negan's kind of like making fun of him, and Carl starts to cry, and Negan genuinely feels bad, so he apologizes to Carl, and then he makes Carl sing him a song, and Carl sings "You Are My Sunshine," and it's kind of an awkward scene, but yeah, anyways, so that was probably the highlight of the episode for me. But yeah, basically Carl stands up to Negan, and he says something like, "I think you should jump out a window to save me the trouble of killing you." So that was a pretty great scene. And I really liked Carl and Negan's relationship in this episode, because Negan sees something in Carl that reminds him of himself a little bit, and I just thought that was really interesting. But anyway, so also Carl forces to watch as Negan basically irons the face of one of the Saviors, and that was a pretty messed up scene. Like, basically Negan has one of the Saviors tied to a chair, and Negan presses this hot iron against his face, which is what he did to Dwight, although we never got to see it in the show. We know that Dwight got his face ironed, and there's like this crowd of Saviors watching, and obviously Daryl's being held at the sanctuary, and he's there watching as well, and him and Carl see each other, and Negan basically makes Daryl clean up the Savior's mess just to show Carl that he's in charge. But anyway, so then Negan takes Carl back to Alexandria, and he asks Olivia where Rick is. And Olivia tells Negan that Rick's out searching for supplies with Aaron, and they might not be back for a while. And then she tells Negan that they're practically starving at Alexandria. And Negan, like, looks at her, and he says something to her, like, by practically, you mean not really. And Olivia burst into tears because, it's an insult on her weight. And then Negan apologizes to her, and then he tells her that he wants to screw her brains out, and Olivia smacks him in the face, and Negan's like, I'm about 50% more into you now. So that was a pretty funny scene. But anyways, that's about it for this episode. Really solid episode. I'm going to give this episode a 9 out of 10. Definitely an improvement over the last couple episodes. And yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. And, the first half of season 7, it was kind of a mixed bag for me. We had the premiere, which was amazing. Episodes 2 and 3, they were okay. They weren't that great. Episode 4 was pretty good. Episode 5 was okay. Episode 6 was just terrible. Episode 7 was really good. And the mid-season finale was great, in my opinion. So it was kind of a mixed bag, the first half of season 7. But this episode was a really good episode, in my opinion. And, yeah. So, anyways, that's about it for this review. Hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned for my review of The Walking Dead Season 7 mid-season finale titled Heart Still Beating. We'll try and get that done for you guys tonight, so stay tuned for that. But anyways, that's about it for this review. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you all for the next one. Alright, bye guys.